it's Tania Gabrielle, Wealth Astro-Numerologist. Welcome to Star Codes. So excited about this edition of the podcast because I have a special treat for you. We're going to look at February 2022. So that's a once in a lifetime code of 2/2022, which is a palindrome, and February being the second month. And basically, we're getting very much deeply acquainted with the number of the decade, which is the decade of the 2020s. Now, the treat is that we're going to look at this code through the lens of Merlin. Now, Merlin was a powerful druid. He was a prophet. He was an advisor to several kings, including King Arthur. And another name for Merlin is Merlin. Now, I unexpectedly began channeling Merlin at the end of 2021. It was a really peaceful holiday for me. My daughter was out of town and Merlin came into my consciousness. And I had not specifically channeled a being before this time. I definitely have channeled information prior to this very frequently in my writing and videos, but not a being. And Merlin is a phenomenal being. And he told me very early on in these channelings that he wanted me to share his points of reflection with a wider audience. And so on occasion, I'm going to share his messages in this Star Codes podcast. I already have shared his messages in my newsletters and in other videos, which you can find on my YouTube channel. Now, Merlin's energy is very powerful, very sweet, gentle, profound, and filled with humor. And he told me he has angelics who work with him. So I asked Merlin about this once-in-a-lifetime code of 2/2022, which is the month of February this year, what it means to us. And his answer is this beautiful meditation on the actual code of 2/2022 and the number 2. And he builds and builds into this gorgeous final revelation at the end of the message. And so I'm really excited to share this message with you. It was an amazing moment. And you'll notice that you won't actually see me on video this time because it came through in the moment and I just turned on the recorder and channeled it. So let's turn it over to Merlin now. Here is Merlin's message on 2/2022. It's definitely going to be going gangbusters in February. This month is tremendously invigorating. The momentum of the 2000s is encapsulated in the code of February 2/2022, which, as you know, is a palindrome itself. Palindromes are sacred geometric shapes. They actually look like a triangle, and they have a point at the top, which is, in this case, the 0 with 2 2s on either side. And the 0 represents completion, the Alpha and Omega. And so this month will represent a true opening. If you look at that 0, it is a window and it's opening up into the new world, into the new age. And you will all really experience the feeling, if you're not already, the feeling of a fresh new breeze, a change in dynamics, a change in direction, a beautiful new vista, an opening that feels very expansive. Now, the numbers 2 that show up, we have 4 2s for February 2022. 2 brings the duality, which is part of living on Earth, the night and dark, the female and male, the left and right, the up and down. It brings that duality into balance so that there is not a tension, a stress, a judgment between one or the other side, but an equilibrium. 2 is representative of two sides of one coin. So the 0 in the middle again is completion. It is the 1. 1 even begins in English with the letter O, which looks like the number 0. And when you are all one, when everything is in unity consciousness, there is no tension, conflict between two opposite sides. There is just negotiation, communication, understanding, diplomacy, peace, compassion, so that there is full acceptance of everyone, no matter where they are on their path. So this too shows these sides. It points them out. It makes them very clear, but doesn't take sides. So that is really the difference. There can be many different viewpoints on one topic, but to take sides is a whole nother level of disrupting the natural growth that happens when you experience or explore different sides, different viewpoints. Even the act of understanding is an exploration to experience and have compassion for a different viewpoint. And so this separation that can incur will point out that when there's a chasm, there is no way to feel internal peace, internal unity with Source. So it is a very critical moment here that really began in 2020 when you consider that the 2 code was amplified in 2020 right from the onset. This year, 2022, beginning especially in February, the second month, takes the intensity and the message of unity versus division to an even more intense framework. So you will see the framework itself, and then you will transcend the division by embracing all sides, especially when there are 2 opposite sides, which create the opposition itself. So the dynamics are to unify the left and right, the different paradigms come together, look each other in the eye. We have 2 eyes, we have 2 arms, 2 legs. You have 2 all over your earthly experience, and it is meant to show you that when you reach out to others, it is bridging a beautiful experience where you come to grow and understand through the expression of or the experience of the other side. So the reaching out that the 2 represents, the bridge that the 2 represents, where you go from one side of the river to the other side of the river and bridge both together as one, so that both sides of the river can be experienced equally. This is a beautiful symbol of the ability to choose and to have free choice and to explore the darkness and the light. When you explore the darkness and the light, you actually appreciate life to the fullest because you've given perspective on the dark through the light and on the light through the dark. And it allows you to have great compassion. And so when the number 2 comes into play, it brings an incredible opportunity to be compassionate. And usually that opportunity arises when you have a strong feeling that may place you on one side of the equation. And then when you hear the other perspective, you have only to open your heart in order to embrace what you may not necessarily feel or agree with or follow, but you embrace the other because it is just another reflection of God, of the experience that we are all having. So you really are being confronted this month with looking at the importance of how you feel about a certain issue and accept those that feel differently. Reach out to them over the great divide and hug them and love them and not ostracize them, not kick them out because they don't live up to a certain set of rules or expectations or beliefs or values. And so this is really the key to the number 2, which, as I've spoken about prior to this message, also sounds like the word too, T-O-O, where we invite others to join us, right? So the word too means come in, and you too shall join us. You too shall come in. And the number 2 and the word too, T-O-O, reflect really the same message. So the listening aspect is very important. 2 is also your relationship to your intuition, and relationships of all kinds are coming into the foreground all year long in 2022. And in this month, where you also celebrate Valentine's Day, this month is especially powerful for joining with the other. It isn't always necessarily romantic. It can be a soulmate, a twin flame, a good friend, a new colleague. The joining of people coming together in friendship and in love is very present as well. And this goes for groups as well. This goes for embracing everyone, no matter where you stand. So the embrace of the 2 is beautiful. Now, if you look at this number 2 and you draw it on a piece of paper, you can see there is an embrace with this number. The number is embracing, hugging, and it has a very strong sense of direction with the hug. The bottom of the 2, that is the straight line, directs the hug itself. It is grounding the energy through the embrace, through the hug, because it is at the bottom of the number when you draw it. So it's sitting horizontally on the ground and hugging, everybody who comes in touch with that 2 gets a hug. And that is the grounding itself as well. So be very, very kind and loving. Be very open-hearted. Understand that your heart does not criticize or judge anyone. And get into that space. When you do, your whole life will pivot. It'll pivot into this glorious sense of connection where everything is connected and you feel that at the core of your being. The number 2 is about connection because you're connecting to something, whether it is your intuition or another, you are connecting. And that represents two coming together as one. So as you connect to earth, connect to what you love to do, your passion, connect to your friends, appreciate your mentors, appreciate your loved ones, and send out signals of love. You will be amazed at the tension that can be diffused, melted away, just allowed to be. Tension ceases when you allow everyone to be, to not interfere in their journey. Then there is no tension. And inner tension ceases when you allow yourself to feel and not question it, not worry, not judge, not criticize. The only tension that arises within you comes when you are afraid. There's no reason to ever be afraid of what you're feeling. There just is the ability to allow it to flow through you. So become one with that flow, become one with your intuition, with your heart, and embrace that hug that the two represents. It is a very beautiful number. Another visual I'd like to give you is that the two looks like a swan, and there is a very elegant energy that comes with the swan. It is very majestic. It is silent as it glides along the pond or the lake. It is very much at peace. And the swan is half a heart. So if you draw another two that is mirroring the two, you draw a heart and you bring two and two together. So I shall leave you with that visual, and I send you just the warmest wishes for a beautiful, loving, compassionate, gracious, sweet, open-hearted, and unifying month of February 2022. Sending you hugs and humor. Thank you so much for joining me today for this special edition of Star Codes with Merlin's message on this beautiful code. Now, you also have a beautiful code. You were born with a special numerology astrology code, and it's all revealed for you in a free masterclass at starcodeclass.com. You can discover your life purpose number, your destiny number, based on your birthday, your birth certificate name, your astrology chart. We're going to go into everything, and you get a free handout as well. So head on over to starcodeclass.com and discover your own star code. Enjoy that, and I will see you in next week's Star Codes podcast. Lots of love.